we've got 4 black men in the main event segment on a show. And no, we are not talking about Monday Night Raw. We're talking about Impact, and we're going to get into it all here tonight on WrstlXtra. Stay tuned.
Yo, what is good, gentle people? This is your boy, A Dazzle, of course, alongside my guy, Mex. This is WrstlXtra. You're watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. And, of course, you're also listening on AffinityExtra.com. Mex, it is a brilliant day. It is a day full of melanin. It is a day full of black wrestlers. It is Tuesday. See what I did there. Yeah, man, today is Tuesday. So if you're listening on Affinity Extra, you're listening on a Thursday. So when we talk about the stuff that we talk about today, you're going to listen to it like about 2 days late. But it's all good because it's all good. But bro, what's happening? Like, update me on what's going on and what we're about to talk about today, man.
Mate, we've had a crazy week last week of wrestling. The landscape, we were told the landscape of wrestling was about to change, and my gosh, did it change, you know, with the news of Kenny Omega winning the AEW title. I think that's even got lost in everything that's kind of transcended. He actually won the title by hook or by crook. And not only has he won, we're going to see him turn up on Impact tonight. So when you're listening to this on Affinity Extra, you would have seen this, you would have known what's happened. But tonight, he is going to turn up on Impact, and we're going to talk a bit more about Impact during the show. So yeah, absolutely crazy what's going on.
And you know, it's crazy because even on that night, listen, I'm not going to lie to you, and I don't make this a secret. I don't make this a secret at all. I'm a bigger fan of NXT than I am of AEW in general. Yeah. My loyalty is just a little bit more with NXT.
I hear that.
But I must say, oh my word, on last week Wednesday, I think I completely forgot NXT even existed. I'm completely honest. I'm not even joking. I didn't watch anything of what happened on NXT, and even War Games got lost in my head. It wasn't until probably Monday morning I checked what happened Wednesday, and then War Games, because AEW killed it.
Yeah,
absolutely killed it that night. And a lot of people are saying it was more the second hour than it was the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely that second hour. Sting's back.
It's under. This is what I mean. Like, so many stuff and monumental stuff have just slid under the carpet because of the final, you know, the final dialogue we were left with Kenny Omega turning up on Impact. Kenny Omega also won the championship, you know, on the night. We also had Sting make a return to TNT, 19 years not on this channel.
19 years later.
He's back. All these things are just being completely forgotten about because of, you know, as wrestling fans, this landscape, this, you know, what if the dream matches of someone on this promotion versus someone on this promotion, all of a sudden we can see that it's possibly light at the end of the tunnel, and these things that we've been, you know, dreaming of might actually happen. Like, it's crazy.
Oh man, it's crazy. I saw Sting come back. I was just like, you know, and you know, I've seen a few people do the whole, you know, why are people getting excited about Sting when, you know, you want to, you know, badmouth about Goldberg coming back. This is a completely different thing for me, bro. I think it was you that said it. I think I saw your comment or someone else's saying that the difference between the two is, you know, Goldberg. Yeah, we got excited when he came back. Of course we did. Of course we did. But what he did since, not quite the same.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Almost took out the Undertaker. You know, Undertaker's now retired, and I think, you know what? That's the other thing that I think was genius by Tony Khan, and the guys at AEW is bringing back Sting when Undertaker's gone.
Yeah. That is a masterstroke, you know.
I think that was genius in the sense where we're talking about Undertaker because he's going. And at the end of the day, as we said on this show about 2-3 weeks ago, the one match that we wanted to see was Undertaker versus Sting. So Sting is already in this conversation about when Undertaker's leaving. But no one ain't thinking, oh, they're going to bring him back. No one ain't thinking that. They're just talking about him and saying, oh, it's a shame that and whatever. And then boom.
And you know what? It seems, I guess we're maybe soon to hear podcasts and all this other kind of media stuff regarding Sting turning up in AEW, but it seems as if the final nail in that WWE coffin for Sting was the fact that he lobbied for a cinematic match with The Undertaker. Vince McMahon didn't really feel like it was necessary or needed. And he thought, well, I got nothing else to do here then. I don't need to re-sign this contract and let me leave.
Not at all. There was nothing left for him to do, because at the end of the day, it's very similar to when Bobby Lashley came back to WWE. The only match everybody wants to see is Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. No one cares about anything else. Let's be very real. All the stuff that he's done since been, okay, some of it's not been great, but some of the good stuff has been brilliant. Championship matches and the feud with Drew McIntyre was amazing. But from when that hasn't happened, no one cares. So it's very similar with Sting. Yeah, we had the thing with Seth Rollins, and then he had that suspect match with Triple H at Mania. But at the end of the day, the only thing we wanted was Sting versus The Undertaker. That is literally the only thing we wanted. So from when that can't happen now, there's no point in him being there. Honestly. There's absolutely no point in him being there. But I think the other master stroke with all of this is Sting, Darby Allin, the whole, people have called Darby Allin like the young or the fake Sting, or as Biggie would probably put it, Sting Light or
Diet Sting.
I called him, he looks like Sting's son to me. You know what I mean? Slightly, but yeah, whatever they do, I think it's going to be best as a mentor type relationship than any type of feud or rivalry or whatever else. I think the mentor thing would make more sense to me. So
you think it's a given that those two are going to work together?
I think it is. I think it would be ridiculous if they don't.
Yeah, I see.
I think it'd be a little bit silly if they, especially given the way Sting came in and he focused on Darby Allin, because he looked at the other four, that the two Rhodes brothers and Arn Anderson, and then Darby Allin was the only one that stood up, and their exchange was a little bit longer. It's the only thing that makes sense. I know there's been talk of Jericho Sting, but that's still possible, even with Darby Allin in the mix.
100,
very, very, very possible. So I'm excited, bro. I'm still reeling as if like it happened yesterday.
Literally, you've got the goosebumps all back on my skin with all you're talking about it. NK, big up NK in the chat. He said that was probably the best episode of wrestling ever. Wrestling I've seen all year. 100%. I think, as fans, wrestling is about moments. I guess for long periods, no matter what you're watching, you can tolerate the filler in between, as long as you get that stand-up moments. And literally, the minute I saw in the Crow in the Titron, like my head just turned, and he walked out, and I just couldn't believe it. And he looks good. By the time he left WWE, I remember he had almost like a hunchback, and he was walking a bit funny. He's got his posture back. He's standing tall. He looks healthy. I mean, I'm not saying I want to see him in the ring necessarily every week, but he looks like he's good to go, and he looks well. Yeah.
And bro, as you said earlier about his first appearance on TNT in 19 years. So obviously TNT was on WCW on Nitro. Yeah. But the thing that really kicked that off was hearing Tony Schiavone shout, "It's Sting!" Oh my word, bro! I was expecting Sting to come down from the rafters, hanging down with the back.
Oh, if they done that, that would have been awesome. That might be a bit of a risk given his age and injuries, but that would have been absolutely amazing if he came from the rafters.
Yeah. That would have been crazy nuts. That would have been absolutely nuts, bro. But yeah, man, I'm super excited to see what happens. And this is, hold on, bro, this is Wednesday we're talking about, we still haven't spoken about what's happening tonight on Tuesday. The other thing before we move back to Tuesday actually is Tony Schiavone is going to be a very busy man on Wednesday because he's speaking to Sting, and
I've seen
now
it.
Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq is actually finally going to make an appearance 3 weeks after being mentioned.
Yeah. Talk about black man's timing. Literally, like man
3
turns
weeks
up when he
later.
wants 3 weeks later.
Yeah, man. 3 weeks later, Tony Schiavone is gonna be speaking to Shaq. So we're gonna find out what all this is about. So AEW is just on this whole, like, they really are just
Working hard, man.
just going for it. They're just taking everything, throwing the paper in the air, and just thinking, you know what, let's start again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy because even with the Battle Royal, and some of the other stuff that happened on that same night last week, it's definitely started a few more feuds or some new storylines. You've got Hangman. It kind of, obviously they've teased it for a while, but the whole thing with Hangman and Dark Order. You've now got Scorpio Sky, on this whole brutish thing against Sean Spears, which is going to look, I think that's going to turn out good as well in some way. So AEW is on my radar. Like, this is
1 month.
Radar.
1 month into their, the beginning of their second year, and it's already looking like the entire year, the next 12 months is going to be phenomenal. Like, can't wait.
It's crazy. So let's get on to what's happening tonight. So Kenny Omega won the championship, of course, AEW champion. His first appearance as champion is not even going to be on AEW, but on Impact Wrestling, bro.
He's a rude boy for that. I'm telling you.
About you know what? To be honest, the mastermind for me has to be Don Callis in all of this.
100.
In all of this, it's going to be interesting to see. Because I think for me, the interesting part now that we're talking about here today really is the fact that we've got the All Black main event. So that is Chris Bey and Moose against Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Now that's the main event. That's the main event of what is expected to be the most watched episode of Impact in a very long time, if not ever. So, and you know what's great about that as well? Not just that on its own, but the fact that I don't feel it's not been done purposely. It's not like, oh, let's get the 4 black boys, you know what I mean, and put them in the match because we're gonna have a whole load of people watching. It's simply because they trust and respect these 4 competitors. It's as simple as that. That talent is just loved and respected in Impact. So I'm wondering, in any way, I'd probably not, but I'm wondering if any of those guys are gonna get involved with Kenny Omega. Maybe not on this episode, possibly not on this episode, what they do tonight, but in some way, I can see Moose getting involved in something.
Yeah.
I can see Moose getting involved in something. Chris Bey, could get, a bit chest high as he has been in the last 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And push himself in there as well. You know what I mean? So, and at the same time as well, it'd be beautifully timed for Chris Bey because this week is about him. You know what I mean? There's a day. There is now a day this week dedicated to Chris Bey, bro. I don't care what anyone says. You know what I mean? December the 12th is all him. Whether he wins, whether he gets through, whether he wins the Impact Championship or not, whether he even wins his first match in the tournament for New Japan, like, it doesn't matter. The day is for him. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for this week. I'm super excited to see what happens tonight. I'm actually going to stay up and watch wrestling. Well, I haven't done that in months, bro. Months. I'm just a highlights guy for all of 2020. I've been a highlight guy. Tonight it's going to change, I think, for sure.
I think, like you said, that this wasn't like a kind of something that was crafted together. I don't think it could have been ever, just because the fact of, I'm pretty sure Impact had done all their tapings until the end of the year.
Very true.
So they are slotting, obviously this segment with Kenny Omega will probably be just added on to the show that they had already recorded, maybe, or I don't know how they're going to put it in, but these guys were always meant to be in the main event. So, the fact that, yes, maybe Kenny Omega is the draw that is going to make everyone watch Impact.
Mhm,
This
mhm.
is probably the most eyes that these guys are ever going to have on them on a singular night for
This
their
is what I'm
match. So,
that's what I'm saying.
worst comes to anything, this is a like it's just like a shop window they can put themselves in, almost. Not to say they should leave Impact, but
Not at all.
I think especially, I mean, the minute I saw he's going over there and there could be this partnership,
Mhm.
I'm thinking of Moose, and I'm thinking
Yeah,
of what is going to elevate Moose to the Impact Championship.
exactly.
And even if they maybe tease, I don't know, an AEW versus Impact kind of feud, or Moose versus Kenny Omega. I mean, I don't want to get into who should win that kind of match or whatever the case is. But if you could make someone like Moose a credible guy, the same thing that EC3 tried to bring
Mhm,
out of him,
mhm, mhm,
that's when you're kind of using the good of Kenny Omega to elevate these other guys, around him, get more eyes on Impact as well.
mhm.
This is it's just a win-win. I mean, it's unbelievable that we're even talking about something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this. Like
yeah,
when
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
So,
always shown to us that all of these guys are rivals and they're all kind of
mhm,
chasing the same spot.
mhm.
But now they're here working together, and ultimately, we've got stars on that show that are gonna profit from the exposure that they're gonna get tonight.
For sure. And what I find amazing as well, actually, and it kind of makes the whole thing almost make sense in the sense where there are so many guys in AEW who were on Impact and who
Mm,
made their names on at least on in the US made their
yeah.
names after being on Impact. So you've got the Lucha Brothers, both of them are Pentagon's a former Impact champion.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Santana and Ortiz, who used to be tag team champions. You've got Brian Cage. You've got all these, so many stars. Even so, Chris Bey was, I think he was offered at one point, or there was talk of him being offered a AEW contract. You've got, oh my gosh, I just thought in my head, yes, I'm just thinking of the dream matches and dream scenarios. You know how the Rascals are now with WWE, but
Yeah.
there was no Trey Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
Does he turn up? I don't know.
What, back
No,
back at Impact, or you mean AEW?
Impact or AEW, or he comes in and he has to choose a side almost. That
There's
would be phenomenal. That would be
the
phenomenal, bro.
it's absolutely endless what they can do from here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True,
Like
true,
it's
true.
mad. Like I think a lot of things that I've been seeing is that is the Kenny Omega is going to turn on the Bucks and turn on the Bucks with the Good
Mm,
Brothers. The Good
okay,
Brothers will have a match
okay.
with against the Bucks in
Obviously,
AEW.
former Bullet Club stuff, of
Yeah,
course.
exactly. So that's kind of what's doing the rounds. But Kenny
Mhm,
Omega, whatever deal this is that these guys have set up, AEW Impact, there
mhm.
wouldn't be a point where Impact wouldn't benefit from this in more than just
Right,
viewership.
right.
There someone in that roster, if not multiple people, are going to benefit from
Mhm,
this deal.
mhm,
So it's
mhm.
just really to turn out who it's going to be. And obviously right now we've got Rich Swann as the champion over there. The contenders are all of the same African American descent that we support here and we're pushing for here. So it
Mm.
is literally just a dream scenario. Even the fact that these men would have found out Kenny Omega is going to be on the show that they're headlining,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
I
course.
can't imagine how they would have felt. Like
Okay.
it's crazy.
Man, you know what? I said it already, and I'll say it again. But right now, I just want to be Chris Bey. I want to know how he's thinking right now because this whole week is just crazy for him. I'm sure. But yeah, going back to you mentioned Rich Swan and all these possible future matches and all that kind of stuff. Just interactions, not even matches, have to happen. Like Ricky Starks and Chris Bey.
Yeah,
That type of
that could be a
interaction,
banger.
whether as friends or enemies, those two, um, you've even still got the possibility whether they go down this route or not. But obviously, Sting was an impact as well.
Of course, yeah.
Still got that possibility of him coming back or doing something with them, or it's just endless. And then the other thing for me is obviously the last few weeks, Tony Khan has been talking about starting a new show. Or kind of distributing the time of AEW Dark as maybe a third show.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can imagine that the opportunities, even though they've given like opportunities to like 20 million wrestlers in 2020 on Dark, you've now got an opportunity for maybe a third show or whatever it might be with guys who are now on Impact or who are established on Impact, and vice versa. Even guys who have been on Dark could end up on Impact in some way, or the possibilities are endless. And I don't know how long this whole thing's going to last, whether it's a long-term thing, whether it's just going to be for a few months or whatever it is. There's talk of the invasion storylines. There's all these dream match, bro. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And I just feel like the New Japan door is obviously the one that everyone's been talking about. When are New Japan and AEW going to link up and stuff like that? Right. And, you know, who would have thought that kind of Impact would arrive at the dance before New Japan would, especially because a lot of the EVPs of AEW left New Japan. That's what they know. So
yeah, that's true.
It's gonna be incredible to see what's gonna come of this. Like, we haven't seen anything like this on this scale. You know, we see, you know, promotions link up before. You know, I was in a group chat and we we're talking about how NXT have kind of had this relationship with Evolve and sent wrestlers down to Evolve, and, you know, Street Profits were Evolve champions, tag champions at one point. But obviously it's very much, you know, we know what that relationship is more of, and it's not really that beneficial for Evolve, or it hasn't turned out to be, because Evolve is gone now.
It's not on the same, and it's not on the same scale, because Evolve were straight up independent.
Exactly.
You know, only existed within, you know, New Jersey, New York area, and nowhere else. Whereas Impact is widely known of, you know, of the three wrestling companies that we get to see as well on TV in the UK. Impact is one of them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So they I don't personally class them as an independent promotion.
Yeah.
So it's a very different thing. The only thing that's come close to this, or, you know, it reminds us of, is the WWE WCW thing back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's not on that level, because obviously WCW is that would be like WWE buying out AEW. That's not happening anytime.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's been so long. That was 1990? That was 30 years ago, bro.
What?
That's
as in,
crazy.
Wait, WCW versus WWE?
Yeah.
So that was late 90s. I guess WWE bought them in 2000, isn't it? So it was about 20 years ago.
I think it was like, bang on. Yeah. But at the same time, 20 years is a very long time, bro. Anything can happen,
of course.
So we've been waiting for something like this for a very, very long time. So yeah, man. What do you see happening just in that main event on its own? What do you see happening for those four guys? Where do you see it going? Who wins? Where's it?
I guess Chris Bey and Moose will win. Because ultimately it has to set up something. Okay. So I think that's the only way it kind of brings some type of consequence. I would like to see Chris Bey versus Rich Swann for the title. Even Chris Bey holding that title aloft above his head. I'm like, you're here, boy. Like, come on, deliver. But we can't forget Moose.
No, of course.
You can't forget me. You can't even forget me, Willie Mack, but
not at all. And that's the interesting thing, because Willie Mack and Moose have had this whole thing since Moose beat EC3 and has become this more, you know, aggressive guy and whatever else. He's destroyed Willie Mack like 2-3 times already.
Yeah.
So Mack has an agenda himself, but then the way Impact ended last week, it was more Moose coming after, kind of making a statement, coming after Willie Mack, but then making a statement towards Rich Swann.
Yeah.
For the title. But then, of course, Chris Bey is still in the mix, so he made his statement. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've got a feeling whatever happens, Moose is going to mess up the match between Swann and Bey in some way, and go for that championship himself. I don't know. I mean, there's two ways to look at this. I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing, because you can either do a unification thing and make, you know, that TNA, that self-proclaimed TNA heavyweight championship a thing.
Yeah.
Or he can, you know, do his own thing with that and have a feud with Willie Mack, and then it turns into something else and whatnot. So, yeah, you know, again, with that, possibilities again are endless, but it's nice to see that it's our guys bang in the mix right at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's interesting.
And it's well deserved. That I think that needs to be said. It is well deserved. These guys, like I said, I've only been kind of catching highlights and stuff of Impact on a Wednesday morning. Obviously, it comes on Tuesday here, but I've been seeing the same faces popping up over the past year with nothing but good work, good news about them, great performances. So, like I said, with the luck of everything kind of meshing together, this main event, a massive star like Kenny Omega coming on the show, everything is literally just falling in place for these guys, and it's well deserved. And of course, like we said, you know, this isn't the end of the week for Chris Bey. He's going to go on to his Super Juniors match, which is going to be a phenomenal match as well. Hopefully he makes a stamp over there as well. So yeah, it's what we've been asking for. It's what we're asking for across the board, isn't it? Just you know, put us in the right places, the right feuds at the right times. And yeah, you know, these guys for sure are gonna shine tonight. It's gonna be proper good. Like,
it's gonna be amazing, bro. And speaking about things that we've been waiting for a very long time, and moving back to WWE, Big E has a new entrance music. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, backed up by Wale. He's done the entrance music for him, and he brought back the
chalk
powder, bro. He brought back the chalk and all of that, bro. Yeah, man. I like, you know what? I like the mesh of the serious Big E and the fun-loving type Big E that we obviously come to love as part of the New Day. Obviously, he was in the match, the Intercontinental Memorial match for Pat Patterson, R.I.P. Do you see? I think it's quite obvious. We're now seeing, you know, we're going to see Big E go for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn as champion, of course. Daniel Bryan possibly might be in the mix for a little while. And maybe a couple of the guys that were in that match. But I see it being Big E, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, a mixture of those three in that little thing there. So how are you seeing that? How do you think that's going to play out?
You know what? After, I think it was 2 weeks ago when there was the exchange between Big E and Sami Zayn backstage, I thought, the Big E's gonna win it. Then obviously Daniel Bryan's kind of reinserted himself, and he's had a kind of on and off thing with Sami Zayn. You know, if we get, I don't know if they want to do this at TLC, which is the next upcoming pay-per-view, because there might be obviously a lot of other kind of stipulation matches, but they can put those three in a triple threat match, a ladder match, in fact, for the title. And obviously, I guess keeping people strong, as WWE like to do, Big E could win and not be pinned. So, and sorry, Daniel Bryan not be pinned, so he looks good. Daniel Bryan can pick it up, and Big E's not pinned, so he still looks good. That might be the best way to go about it. However, at the same time, I think Sami Zayn is beginning to catch a bit of steam with this whole controversial, you know, conspiracy kind of gimmick that he's doing. I think it's picking up a bit, and people are enjoying it. So I don't know if he's actually going to drop that title, anytime soon. Maybe he holds it at least to the Rumble. Rumble's a relatively big show, so someone it might change hands then, but at least it's kind of becoming a bit clearer what they're doing with Big E. You know, especially aesthetically wise, you know, like you said, he's got a new entrance music, all of that kind of stuff. It's becoming a bit clearer that they haven't forgotten about him. But I guess the IC title for me, it's a bit underwhelming because we know he's been there. We've been there, done that, you know, sort of thing. This is why I still argue at least he should have went to Raw with these the New Day, and taken the US title off Bobby Lashley. something that will be new to him. And for me, I've got a thing that it looks legitimate. Like that belt is bigger than the Intercontinental title belt.
Of course, bro.
And it's nice, this new one. So I think that could have sat quite nicely on Big E's shoulder. Yeah. I mean, he's in the mix, and that's all we can ask for, really.
I mean,
so yeah.
For me, the Intercontinental thing makes sense. It makes sense
100
for two reasons. It's a progression to the World Championship, and I prefer progression than straight up to the top. Because it's a harder fall when you have to come back down.
100.
But then the other thing with the Intercontinental Championship with Big E is that at the end of the day, his first run with it, is forgettable. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. So it's kind of like right and wrong in that respect.
Redemption.
If he wins it now and has just a decent run, doesn't have to be too long or whatever else, just a decent run. We can call him a 2-time Intercontinental champion and also a legit champion as well. You know what I mean? So for me, that is what works.
You forgot number 3. Number 3 being that he's not beating Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship anytime soon. So the Intercontinental is just right for him.
Right. Exactly. That's the only thing he's going to hold. That's the only gold he's holding for a while.
Yeah.
If he does hold anything more. But then the other person who also, we haven't even spoken about this, and I'm sure it happened like 2 weeks ago. The other person that's got new entrance music is Keith Lee, finally.
Yeah. I think I think we spoke about it when the news broke that Josiah Williams was involved in putting that together, but I don't think we spoke when it actually came out.
It happened. Right. And that's amazing. But so I watched the Keith Lee 24 documentary. I think I was close to tears by like about 5 minutes in.
Bro, I thought it was only me.
As a father myself, bro, and having sons, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, mate.
Yeah.
I was holding on to the Andrex tissues quite hard because boy, I was ready to cry, bro. But again, you know what I love about documentaries, especially when it comes to pro wrestlers, bro. We always hear these stories of, on the indies, it's difficult and, you're lucky if you get paid. And if you get paid, you're getting like, Keith Lee said, you get like $20 if you're lucky and all that kind of stuff there. And then to now see them where they are now, and the stuff that, especially with Keith Lee, winning what he's won, that Survivor Series, like this time last year around Survivor Series time, when Keith Lee just burst on the scene, in a more public, in a bigger way. And you know what? I remember watching all those years ago, that first match that he had Beyond Wrestling with Dijakovic. Back then, Dominic Dijak, I think. Yeah. Bro, that was when I realized who he was.
Okay.
So seeing that and then mentioning, I was like, oh, so I didn't see it late. I didn't see Keith Lee late. I saw him when everyone else did.
Yeah.
And since then, I think it's only been like 2, maybe 3 years at the most. He's just shot up through the ranks. Obviously got signed, all that kind of stuff. It's inspirational, and it makes you. It helps you to remember just how good Keith Lee is, because obviously we've said it a few times on here already. The last few weeks since the little thing died down with him and Randy Orton and kind of with Drew McIntyre, it felt as if he's getting lost in the mix as well.
Yeah.
Yes, he's around the picture, and yes, he had the triple threat, number 1 contender match last week, but it still was like, okay, what are they doing with him? I guess watching that, I don't know whether these 24 documentaries are a bit of a sign to say, okay, we're going to do something with this guy, or it's just timing and, it is what it is. But it was, for me, it was like, okay, I now remember what this guy is about. But I think it puts pressure on WWE to now literally do something with him.
100.
Massively.
I watched it when I was eating my lunch today. And no word of a lie, I had to reheat my lunch twice because I just forgot it was there, because I was literally just so compelled with what I was watching.
Real talk.
It's just the story of, you just need to work harder than everyone else. I'm sure the story that every black person has heard so many times, and this is a thing about race, but it shows the story that he went to WWE twice, 3 times before he actually got the call to look, pen to paper, no more trials, you're here now, sort of thing. It's an absolutely phenomenal story, and I just think that this has to be, it must mean something. For me, I always try to look at the 24s and when they put them out, and a lot of the time it's when someone has reached the top of the mountain, so to speak, and they're telling the story of how they got there and then their background and everything. And then the other ones are when someone's on their way to the top of the mountain, sort of thing. So I mean, I can't help but think, especially like right now, he's keeping himself busy around Drew, around Sheamus and all of that kind of stuff, but he's not really doing much. What if Keith Lee wins the Men's Royal Rumble? Because now I always thought we're going to get Drew Roman at WrestleMania. However, they're on different shows. And yeah, so how we really going to facilitate that?
Right.
If Keith Lee possibly wins the Men's Royal Rumble, in between then and he gets to before then and he gets to the WWE Championship, he's got this story with Sheamus, who is effectively right now the foil before Drew McIntyre. And then maybe he gets to McIntyre. I don't know. Maybe I just want Keith Lee to win the Royal Rumble at this point. I think the Men's Royal Rumble winner is kind of obscure this year, right now, anyway, which is good
for now.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a possibility, but I think for me the best thing is they know what they have, and it's very obvious that they know what they have, and yeah, they can't mess this up. Even if not every week he's going to be out there wrestling, cutting a promo, whatever. Yeah, for them to spotlighted him like this, there's a future here, and they know it. So for sure.
And I think what encourages that whole thing is what we saw with his interaction with Vince McMahon. In back, and we all know that, you know, at a drop of a hat, Vince can change his mind about someone, and you know, we so many times we've seen it happen. But at the same time, again, because we saw it just now, or you know, in that documentary, I'm just like, yeah, there's no way, there's no possible way you can look at Keith Lee. He's got the attributes that he has, the ability that he has, the charisma that he has, and you change your mind about him just like that. I don't think that's possible. I can understand you not being able, maybe not being able to facilitate it in the way that everyone's expecting it to be, or certain stories have to happen before you push him and all that kind of stuff. I can get all of that, but for Vince specifically to then just be like, can't be bothered anymore. I think that's impossible. So for me, time will tell. In a short time, hopefully, in a short time. But going back to the Royal Rumble, I think that's so wide open, it's unreal.
Yeah,
and in a way where there are so many people it could be that would actually still make sense as well. It's not just, okay, it's probably going to be this person because they like him and no one else cares, but WWE do. But there are quite a few where it could be, and you're like, okay, I can see that happening. So yeah, I'm still excited to see what happens with Keith Lee. As you said, he's still around the picture. He's got this thing with Sheamus. Sheamus has got this thing with Drew. You know, Sheamus is going to turn his back on Drew in some way, somehow.
It's coming, yeah,
before the end of the year. So,
but you know what? Saying that, I like what they did this week. How they had the reason to fall out when the Claymore got delivered to Drew, but it's like they scrapped about it backstage, and then it was just like, you get in the pints, you cheap guy, you know, you owe me a drink, and it was like they just walked away from it. Like, I love that sort of thing. Not everything necessarily needs to descend into, you know, a complete feud sort of thing.
Right. Not straight away, but yeah. But I think sometimes that's how you do it. I think with Sheamus has been in that type of situations before, but almost on an opposite way with when he had the thing with Cesaro. Obviously, they had their whole feud first, and then they turned into friends. But there was that little bit in between where they were scrapping, but
backing each other up. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's gonna. We still know it's gonna turn out into them feuding at some point, but to see it not necessarily happen straight away, and a bit more of the realism in terms of friends do squabble as well.
Yeah.
And can still be friends is nice to see as well. So we'll see what happens with that, man. Another feud. The segues in today's show is crazy. Another feud that I see, not even a feud actually, another interaction that we've seen, and it was a tribute to the troops. Is Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks.
So I'm yet to watch Tribute to the
already.
Troops.
I didn't even watch it. I just saw the pictures.
I'm gonna watch it. I meant to watch it today. And I ran out of time. But I'm gonna watch it because I think just seeing those two in the ring together. I said stop. I saw there was some backstage segment between them as well. Like,
don't get emotional.
There was some backstage segment as well between them, which I've just avoided. I don't want to see it yet until I've watched the match, so that the context is there perfectly. Right. It's just it's what we ask for. That's it. It's all we're asking for,
and that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? There was also an interaction backstage from Friday night on SmackDown, but with Bianca Belair and Bayley. Oh my word, bro!
That was hilarious. I saw that.
Absolutely perfect in every way. Both ladies showed, just how entertaining they can be. Showed their characters, and it set us up for what will surely be a very entertaining feud between the two of them.
Yeah.
With Bianca Belair calling Bayley Dusty.
I think did she say her hair is dusty or something?
Her face
is dusty. Your hair's cut too short or something like that.
Oh, mate, I think she just said what everyone else was thinking, but in the nicest way she could possibly say it.
I watched that segment and I watched both of them, and both of them were trying their hardest not to. They were trying their hardest not to crack at all and still be serious. Like, it was so good. It was so good.
Real good, man. So that's another thing we can, expect to see on Friday play out. I don't necessarily expect. I mean, I haven't seen this backstage thing with Sasha and Bianca, but I don't necessarily expect that to be something that we see carry on TV for now, anytime soon. Obviously, Sasha's got her hands full with Carmella, and as we said, Bianca's feuding with Bayley at the moment. So, but as I said, man, bro, just to see those pictures, just to see that they had a match together. I shared one of the pictures on my story, bro, and literally they both look like superheroes standing in the middle. Sasha with the title above her, up in the air. Bianca showing off the muscles and all that kind of stuff, bro. I was just like, wow, like this is dream become reality, and it's literally right there. But it's crazy how that one-off match has happened. And it's just excited me for what's going to happen whenever it does happen, whether it's next year or, whenever it happens. But that was great. The other thing that you wanted to talk about was Leon Ruff at War Games. How do you feel about the loss? Is it a bad thing? Did he still look okay? Is it now downhill for Ruff? Like, what is the next thing for him?
So I think it was a really good loss in a way. Like, I think it was very hard for any of us to see him still going to walk out of that match with the title.
Correct.
Johnny Gargano picked it up, 3-time North American champion. For me, he is Mr. NXT right now. Like, the guy's brilliant.
He's brilliant, but you know what? I love to hate him. That's what it is. That's
one of them ones.
Brilliant. That's what makes him brilliant. No,
fair enough. Leon Ruff. I think the story being told during the match of Damian Priest not wanting to attack him and everything was brilliant as well. And he was like, no, give it to me, sort of thing. I'm a serious contender as well. I'm not a joke, until Damian Priest put him through the barrier. And then Damian Priest was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like, and then he went away. He came back. I thought that was going to be him written out of the match, but then he actually came back into the match. In the end, he took the pin. I think from here, he needs to have a feud with Damian Priest.
Okay.
That will keep him pretty relevant, and obviously Damian Priest, I guess, is caught between a rock and a hard place of I didn't want to do this to this guy, but now I've got to kind of show him because I'm not an idiot. So
right.
Yeah, I think that will keep Leon Ruff busy. he might not win that feud per se, because obviously Damian Priest is massive as well. But I think that could be a next possible step in the whole story. What do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of seeing it a little bit more now that Austin Theory got involved, of course, and with Leon Ruff taking the pin as well. He will feel as if he deserves a rematch and want to come back for the North American Championship. And, you know, I think Fury will get in his way. Fury will be the one, you know, to be like, oh, Johnny Gargano will put Fury in his way and say, well, you haven't beaten him, type of thing. So, you know, you're not coming to me unless you beat him. Maybe we'll get that in the first week or two, and possibly, you know, a rematch at some point. With the way the match went, I don't think there was any real better way really for him to lose. As you said, great. You got put through that barrier, but yet still came back. That's all you need from a smaller guy. That is all you need. That showing of heart, that, you know, and all that kind of thing. You know, in order for him to be able to take on the bigger guys, those that, you know, be that perfect underdog. So I see that happening. I mean, you know, as we said before, very early on, when he first won that championship, it may just simply be a way for them to just, you know, put him in the public eye a little bit, and then probably move him on to something else, whether that be the Cruiserweight Championship, you know, or on 205 in some way. And I'm really still seeing this kind of small, slightly quietly build of the Cruiserweight division on NXT and on 205. I'm seeing it, and even with the signings that they've made in the last few weeks. So I'm excited for that. That's just what I'm expecting to see. There's nothing to say that it's definitely happening, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen. So yeah, man, that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Leon Ruff. He's definitely been established now. Both his character, the fun-loving, but will still, you know, won't back down and all that kind of thing. So it's going to be great to see what happens with him moving forward. But unfortunately, so not even unfortunately, well, to be fair, it is unfortunate because we could speak about what's been going on this week for forever. And I don't want to stop
much more.
but we have a cap on our time. But yeah, man, we've got a few minutes left. Let us get into our stars of the week. I've got like 20 honorable mentions. I've got like 5 stars it could be. But I think I know exactly who I'm choosing. But I'll let you go, as always, because I'm a gentleman. I always let you go first. So hit me with your star of this week.
So I am going to go with Powerhouse Hobbs.
Okay.
I think that makes Powerhouse Hobbs at this point a 3-time star of the week between myself and yourself. So
wow.
Accolades to him. You know what? I think his ascent to where he is now, effectively, I mean, some might argue should go to Sting, but he's debuted in not debuted, but he's been involved in the segment of Sting's debut.
Right.
I think ultimately he has replaced Brian Cage in this faction.
Straight.
Like, what is the need for Brian Cage at this point?
Straight up. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And yeah, just through the whole fact that, you know, when they got put together, you know, Ricky Starks kind of made Brian Cage just take a back seat.
Yep.
And now Will Hobbs has filled that almost that void as the big man of the group. I don't know what Brian Cage is doing there anymore, if I'm completely honest. And nothing against Brian Cage, but I just think like Will Hobbs has come in, he's adapted the Taz colors, the theme of all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
He's moving vicious in the ring, you know, sparing nobody at all. Ran away when Sting came out like the rest of them did. But, you know, apart from that, he's just being made to be a complete believable guy and definitely someone that AEW clearly have their eye on for the future.
Right. And
yeah.
And it's like you said, since joining the faction, you know, you've said it yourself that he's now, you know, kind of made the faction more relevant for yourself. Your eyes are now on this team. And the way this guy has decimated his opponents, the way he took out Lee Johnson. That one clip that I shared of him taking out Darby Allin on the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
How Darby Allin even got up, I don't know. But yeah, he's like we said so many times, him now with Team Taz just makes a lot more sense.
100.
And it can only go from strength to strength from here if done correctly. And yeah, I very much agree with you 100% on him kind of almost replacing, and probably not even purposely, but almost replacing Brian Cage in terms of, and if there's any kind of hierarchy within this group, it's Starks, Hobbs, Cage.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think that can even be argued.
And you know what? I was listening to Wrestling's podcast. Big up those guys, and I heard this little take that they had, and I'm here for it. They had kind of like a little fantasy booking, right? Where it's like Taz is almost like arm round Will Hobbs, like, you're my guy, like I can't wait to see you again, like go out there, blah blah blah. Really gassing up Will Hobbs to the point where maybe Brian Cage becomes jealous, and then those two can go at it. Like that would be some good friction between the groups, sort of thing. It's just like I said, Brian Cage, I just feel like it sounds so harsh, but it's like he's been replaced.
I'm here for that clash. Whatever happens, I think whatever happens, there has to be that relationship or the interaction between Hobbs and Cage. It has to happen, whether they go at it together or they go at it, as rivals in some way. The jealousy thing makes a lot of sense. I think that would be phenomenal, bro. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah,
definitely. Moving on to my star of the week. This is crazy. This is something that has never been done before, but I'm doing it anyway. The week hasn't even happened, and straight away I'm giving it to Chris Bey. I'm sorry. There is no way. I don't care if this was about the last week. I cannot wait another 7 days to say that Chris Bey has killed it this week already. So yeah, for me, it's Chris Bey. And it simply is just what is going to happen in the next few days for him. And of course, he's been involved in the picture with Rich Swann as the Impact champion. So that can't go unnoticed either.
Of course.
But to have a day where you're literally going for the top championship in the promotion that you're part of, and then also make a debut in Japan, where we know there's not been many black stars have appeared. Shout out to Leo Rush as well, who's going to be part of that tournament. ACH as well, but we know ACH is like, he's a veteran in Japan now. He's an absolute native on the juniors scene in Japan. But yeah, even Leo Rush, I think for me is definitely an honorable mention. Just the last few weeks, especially on the indies, he has just been here, there, and everywhere. He's also on something on MTV, I believe. I can't remember what it's called now, but he's on something over there.
I did see it. It's like a game show or something, right?
Yeah, like a reality TV game show.
Yeah.
So he's on everyone's radar as well at the moment. So shout out to him. But Chris Bey, again, like I said, because it's Impact, because we're having this all black main event, because Kenny Omega's going to turn up there and it's going to be probably the most watched Impact in forever. Chris Bey gets mine hands down, and the week hasn't even happened.
And I'm sure it's going to be well deserved.
For sure. And he's been putting the work in the matches and that he's had
100.
As well. The match with Willie Mack was great. So yeah, man. It's December. Going with that. December 12th is all him. Tuesday, December. Everything Bey. Just Bey is Bey. You know what I mean?
The finesser, it's his time.
Man. Ultimate finesser has finessed his way to the top. And as my star of the week. But there was one person as well I was going to mention. I can't remember who it is. Oh my word! I had so many like honorable mentions, and I've forgotten who it was now. Oh, you know what? Forget it. I've lost
I was
it.
gonna shout out that
Go on.
that the young lady that NXT signed. Is it Lash? What's her name?
Oh gosh, oh my gosh, and Real Howard,
Yes.
and Real, yeah, for sure.
Is she the NXT answer to Jade Cargill?
As a former basketball player, there's that comparison, of course. She's a beautiful black woman as well.
Mhm.
But time will tell, I guess. Time will tell. We'll see what happens with her as well. She's already kind of posted pictures of her in wrestling type gear. I don't know whether that was directly connected to NXT or or WWE at all, but she already looks like a star, ready to go. And I'm excited to see what happens with her as well. I don't completely know her story. She's one of these people that usually when I clock certain people and then I post about them, I then get to find out everything about them. But I just know the same things that everyone does at the moment with her basketball background. And that is literally it.
I think she's green. Like she's gonna be in the performance center for some time before we see her on TV. So all the best to her and her career.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, the one thing I was going to mention is of the other War Games match.
The women's
War Games match was absolute fire,
Look,
bro.
In terms of violence, that was better than the men's.
Oh, for sure. And in terms of building stars as well, it was because most of them are already established stars, but Gonzalez, she's come through, bro.
I've been invested in Raquel Gonzalez since they put her with Dakota Kai.
Right.
Remember before she had like some cowgirl gimmick or something like that, some Texas gimmick.
Yeah.
The minute they put her with thing, big mammy cool and all of that, like I'm here for Raquel Gonzalez. I am so invested, like literally.
Oh man. Yeah, man. They've built her nicely, and she beat the NXT Women's Champion as well. So that's propelled her right to the top. So that is going to be interesting. Talking of Io Shirai with the garbage can over her head, jumping off the top of that cage.
Oh my gosh, it's just a meme. It's a meme. The picture of it, like just legs hanging out of a bin coming from the sky, like it's a meme.
Man. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic, man. But again, we need to stop because the time is far gone. We're gonna be here till I gotta go home again. The chicken waiting. I eat chicken every week. Don't It's
what we do. It's part of our diet.
Fried chicken, whatever. But listen, folks, that has been WrstlXtra. It's Tuesday, so if you're listening on Thursday, you already know what's happened on Impact and on AEW by now, hopefully. But catch us, in between that time, going crazy on our statuses on Twitter, on Instagram. You can find Mex, of course, on the WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram, and you can find him on Twitter as well. I'm sure his Twitter is just going to be flooded with his reactions and excitement for the next couple of days. I'm waiting for it. You might even catch me on Twitter for a change, like regularly in the next couple of days. Because it's gonna go off. It's gonna
be good.
And of course, you're already following me on Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram. The other thing as well on Instagram is to make sure you check out my Instagram page, especially on Thursday. I've got a special giveaway that I'm working with a few other people, Wrestling News, Jobbertiers Podcast, John Cena Cruz, and Devils DeVille. Giving away some stuff. We're just giving away stuff. We've got WWE Network subscription giving away, or a free month, not a subscription. Don't get too excited. A $50, $50, whatever your currency is over there, for the WWE shop. And of course, top prize is a WWE replica belt. I kind of wish I was going for this because I want that belt myself because I ain't got
100%.
But
might have to cut a promo and enter that competition.
enter it, bro. Enter it. So yeah, check out my page. Check out the other guys' pages as well for the rules, and just get involved, man. It's Christmas. I don't usually get excited for Christmas, so this is something special. It's as simple as that. Folks, we've got to go. We've got to go. Chicken's waiting. The kids need to go to bed. Let's go. See you later, folks.
Take care, guys.